Amara arranged the files neatly on the table inside the community center. The hall was spotless, the chairs lined in perfect rows, everything ready for inspection. The door opened and Mr. Okafor, the director, stepped in. He looked around briskly. "Amara, are the files complete?" Yes, sir. He nodded, then turned to the others. "Snacks? Water? Everything for our guest?" "Yes, sir," the girls chorused. Satisfied, he left. Moments later, he returned, his voice sharp with urgency. "Okay, everyone is on his way. Everyone outside, line up quickly." The girls rushed out, adjusting their dresses and standing in neat rows at the entrance. Excitement bubbled among them, their eyes fixed on the gate. Then the sound came, engines rumbling. A convoy of 3 black SUVs rolled in smoothly. The cars gleamed under the sun. Michael stepped out of the first vehicle, tall, handsome, and dressed in a black suit. He carried himself with ease. There was something about him, a charm that filled the atmosphere before he even spoke. The ladies leaned forward slightly, their admiration unhidden. Amara stayed in her place, quiet, notebook in hand. She watched him without giggling or whispering, and it was her calmness, not her excitement, that caught his eye. After greeting the group with a firm handshake and a warm smile, he turned to her. "You must be Amara," he said. His voice was calm but carried authority. "Yes, sir." "Would you mind showing me around? I'd like to see what you are all building here." Amara nodded and led him through the center. She explained the programs in progress, tailoring classes, small reading groups, the mentorship circle. She pointed out the charts pinned to the wall, tracking the progress of girls who had passed their exams. Her words were precise, no exaggerations, only facts. Michael listened intently, asking questions that showed he was not just polite, but genuinely interested. When they returned to the front of the building, he paused. "You have done very well, Amara. I would like us to continue this conversation. Dinner tonight?" She hesitated for a second, then nodded. Yes, sir. That would be great." That evening, Amara sat across from Michael in a quiet restaurant. The lighting was soft, the table neatly set, but it was his presence that filled the room. "You are very intelligent. So tell me, what do you think about love and marriage?" Amara looked up thoughtful. "Well, I believe love should be patient. Marriage should be built on respect, not just feelings." "Ooh, and submission? Do you think it still matters in marriage today?" "Of course, but not as weakness. True submission comes from trust, not fear." For the first time that night, Michael didn't have a quick reply. He smiled slowly, as though our words had touched something deep. When dinner ended, he personally dropped her at her parents' house. Her mother came out quickly, her father not far behind. They greeted Michael with gratitude and respect. When he drove off, Amara's parents turned to her, their faces bright. "Amara, hey, do you know who that man is?" her father asked. Yes, Papa." Her mother held her hand tightly. "Hey, God has remembered you, my daughter. Someone like him, noticing you. My dear, don't take it for granted. It's not small thing, What did you guys talk about?" "Mom, we're just talking about life and the center in general." "Hey, God, thank you." Hey. Amara smiled faintly, but her mind was still on Michael's questions at dinner. A week later, colorful posters appeared across the community. They carried Michael's name boldly at the top, announcing a talent contest for young women. Parents everywhere were talking about it. Some even sent words to their grown daughters living outside the village to return home and participate. Amara's parents were not left out. One afternoon, while she sat quietly on the couch, uninterested, her father folded the poster and looked at her. "Amara, you must join this contest," he said firmly. Her mother added, Amara, don't you know this is how God remembers people? You want to go to the university, right? This may be the door. My daughter, please do not allow this contest pass you by. Reluctantly, Amara agreed. She was gifted in craft and decided she would present her work. Unlike other girls rushing to the market to buy flashy dresses and fabrics, she is simply prepared to showcase her bidding skill. The community center buzzed with excitement. Girls displayed singing, dancing, poetry, and designs. Michael sat among the judges, smiling as each contestant tried to impress. When it was Amara's turn, she stepped forward with a beaded flower vase. She had designed it with her own hands. The crowd murmured in admiration, and the judges leaning to see the fine details. Questions were asked. Amara answered with calm confidence. By the end, her work stood out from all others. She had won the contest. A cash prize of 1 million naira was placed in her hands. Her parents clapped with joy, their eyes wet with tears. Not long after, Michael himself visited their home. The family rushed to welcome him, thinking he only came to congratulate their daughter. But his words shocked them. Sir, ma'am, I came not just to applaud Amara's talent, but to declare my intention to marry her. Her parents exchanged glances, their mouths open in surprise. They never imagined things would move this far. Soon, Michael and Amara were seen together more often. Their outings became the talk of the whole community. Some parents scolded their daughters in anger. Look at you, you're just sitting here and eating. An ordinary girl, Amara. See how she used her brain and won. What were you doing? Just catwalking and showing your legs. Michael proposed not long after. What followed was an elaborate traditional marriage, celebrated with drums, dancers, and feasting. By the time Amara left for Lagos with her new husband, she was no longer the quiet girl on her parents' couch. Michael spoiled Amara silly. He took her shopping in Lagos and even flew her abroad. Her closet soon looked like a store. Whenever she called her mom, she was bursting with excitement, telling her how grateful she was for listening to her parents' advice. 1 month into the marriage, Michael was hardly ever home. He was traveling on business trip, leaving Amara alone in the mansion. To keep herself busy, she threw herself into her craft and studied hard. Michael had told her she would soon relocate to London for university, so she prepared with all her strength. One afternoon, as Michael left for another trip, he gave her an instruction. Babe, listen, there is a brown envelope in my room, he said. Pack it in your suitcase with your books. When you arrive in London, I'll pick it up. It's for a client and it's extremely important. Please do not lose it. Okay, no problem. I won't lose it. She tucked the envelope neatly into her bag and packed her clothes with care. At the airport, her luggage was searched. When the officer found the brown envelope, Amara quickly explained, Please, sir, handle it with care. It belongs to my husband. It's a document for his client. The man frowned. At that moment, the sniffer dog barked violently. Security pulled her aside for a private search. When the envelope was opened, the world stopped spinning. Inside was cocaine. Amara burst into tears. No, I'm only going to study. My husband, he gave it to me. No, sir, I'm only going to study. Sir, look at my admission letter. She showed them her admission letter. But when they called the university, it was discovered to be fake. Okay, madam, since you claim to be married, call your husband, the officer ordered. Amara dialed. Michael's number was unreachable. Over and over again, no response. Her body trembled as reality hit her. She was arrested on the spot for drug trafficking. News traveled fast. Her parents arrived in Lagos, devastated. But Amara swore she knew nothing. She told them the truth, that Michael had given her the envelope. Days later, a lawyer broke the news to her in prison. Both her parents had died suddenly after returning home, weighed down by shame and heartbreak. Amara collapsed to the ground, wailing. Her dream had turned into a nightmare. Amara's parents were buried without her presence. Back in the community, people were talking. Some shook their heads as if they had always known. Others laughed openly. Oh God, thank you. Parents now told their children, now listen to me. Listen, put your ears. May you never end up like Amara. Say amen. In her cell, Amara wept until her body had no strength left. One afternoon, while she slept on the cold floor, someone poured water on her body. It was not just water. The smell told her it was mixed with urine. Before she could rise, 2 inmates dragged her up. One punched her face, another hit her ribs. Drugs trafficker! Woo! So you are the one they said has been carrying cocaine, eh? That's how you have been trafficking young girls, right? One shouted. Amara shook her head weakly. No, I didn't. A heavy slap silenced her. In the corner, an elderly woman sat watching, her eyes sharp. She finally raised her hand and the beating stopped. The women shifted as if she was their commander. Hey, my name is Madam Flora. People call me Mama. Yeah, I am the leader of the women in this prison. If you want to survive, you will do as I say. Do you understand? Yes, ma. That evening, she was pushed outside for labor. She cut grass under the hot sun, swept the yard, her prison uniform clinging to her sweaty body. She knew life was going to be hell. The next day, Madam Flora sat in a corner while another inmate tried to read the daily newspaper that one of the warders had smuggled in for her. The woman stuttered and stumbled over the words. Amara, who sat quietly nearby, gave a little giggle without thinking. Madam Flora's eyes shot up. What's funny? Can you read? No, nothing, ma. I wasn't laughing. Flora's voice thundered. If you don't read, we will punish you. Amara picked up the paper with trembling hands. She read the lines clearly, word for word. The room fell silent. Many of the inmates could not read. Madam Flora leaned back, surprised. From that day, Amara became the one who read the newspaper aloud to them. Slowly, Flora's interest in her grew. In the meal line that week, Amara met a woman named Charity. Charity watched her closely and whispered, Young lady, calm down. Don't fight them. Learn to be strong. It will only get better, okay? Amara held onto those words even though her body felt weak. For the first time since entering the prison, someone spoke to her with kindness. That afternoon, Amara was assigned to take care of Madam Flora. She sat at the woman's feet, carefully working on her pedicure, when a guard shouted from the side, Make sure you do it well! Mama, is she doing it? Yes, calm down. She's doing it. Amara bent her head and kept walking. Madam Flora's eyes stayed fixed on her. So, young rat, how did you even get in here? She asked slowly. Amara's hands trembled a little. She hesitated and whispered, I was married. I didn't even know I was framed. They said I carried drugs. I don't even know how cocaine looked like. I didn't know anything about it. Her voice broke and tears slipped down her cheek. Madam Flora leaned forward. Drugs? Cocaine? For the first time, Madam Flora's stern face softened. She rested her hand on Amara's shoulders. Calm down. Listen, as long as you are in this prison, no harm will come to you. I can hear honesty in your voice. Now listen, everyone. Nobody touches her, okay? She paused. Her eyes softened as she studied Amara. Please, can you teach me how to read? Madam Flora asked quietly. Amara lifted her head, surprised. Yes, I can teach you, ma. Good. Then from today, you will be my teacher. From that day, Amara began teaching her morning, afternoon, and evening. After her labor work, she will return to Madame Flora's side. Soon, other inmates noticed and joined in. A small group gathered daily, repeating letters, sounding out words, eager to learn. As Amara taught, she also listened. Each woman carried a story. One inmate whispered that she was framed by her closest friend for stealing. Another told her the police had picked her up during a riot and dumped her in prison. 2 years had passed and nobody had come for her. Each story cut into Amara's heart. Her own pain was heavy, but listening to theirs made her realize she was not alone. One evening, Madame Flora opened up. Amara, I owned a big company, a multinational, but I could not, read or write. My son gave me documents. I signed them. I trusted him. She shook her head slowly. That was how I lost everything. That was how I was framed. I know you might be wondering, how was I able to build a multinational without reading? Well, I had help. I had people who helped me, build the business, and my late husband as well. But after he passed, life became different. Well, I tried as much as I could to understand the business, but I couldn't read so much. And that was how I was framed. Amara swallowed. That's why I must learn now. I need to learn to read and write. No one will ever use my ignorance against me again. I want to take back everything my wicked son stole. She looked at Amara with a strange mix of pain and hope. I'm glad you are here. You will teach me and I will rise again. Amara nodded, silently determined. One afternoon, they were having class inside the ward. Some women had notes, writing while listening to Amara. Amara was about to mark Madame Flora's work when a folded picture slipped out of the notebook. She picked it up, looked at it and gasped. Tears rushed down her face. Madame Flora frowned. Amara, why are you crying? Amara's voice shook. This man, he's the one who framed me. He destroyed my life. Madame Flora's hand trembled as she took the photo. Her eyes widened. That's Michael, my son, the one I told you testified against me in court after forcing me to sign documents I should never have signed. Amara's tears fell harder. He ruined me too. Oh no, when I come out of this prison, I'll kill him. I'll make him pay. The word fell into silence. Charity, who was sitting nearby, leaned forward. Amara, listen to me. Listen, revenge will not heal you. I know how it feels, like God abandoned you, but he hasn't. You may not understand now, but God loves you and he's still watching. Allow God handle that part for you. Amara sobbed, clutching the picture. Where was God when I lost my parent? Where was God when Michael framed me? Where was God when I suffered all this in shame? Charity reached for her hand. Amara, listen to me. God knows why. See, there are things that are always beyond us that we will never understand and we will not have answers to. And that's okay. If you had not come here, you will never have known the truth. Look at it carefully. Yes, you have lost much, but God can still restore. Leave judgments to him. You will never have met Madame Flora if you have not come into prison. And now you are helping her. Can't you at least see the good in what God is doing in your life? At least you are still alive. And where there is life, there is hope. She drew her closer and whispered, You see, Amara, whenever I feel bitter, I write letters to God. Write. Pour out your heart to him. Okay? Amara hesitated, then slowly took a piece of paper. With trembling hands, she began to write all her pain, her disappointment, her anger. When she finished, she read it aloud. God, I am broken. I lost my parent. I lost my name. I lost my freedom. Michael destroyed me. But God, if you still see me, please Show me mercy. Help me, please. When she finished, Charity prayed with her and led her to Christ. She dropped the pen and buried her face in her arms. From that day, a new bond began between Charity and Amara. 2 years later, the echo of heavy boots filled the corridor. A loud announcement rang through the prison gate. All prisoners gather! The government has reviewed several cases. Some will be released today. The women gasped, eyes wide. Amara froze, her heart pounding. Could her name be among them? The list was read out. Amara's name, Charity's name, Madame Flora's name, and many others. The women hugged one another as tears filled their eyes. The iron gates opened and freedom rushed in like fresh air. Amara could not return to her community. Shame and whispers would be waiting there. Instead, Madame Flora welcomed her into one of her homes. Charity found her children again and clung to them as if to never let go. Now able to read and write, Madame Flora began to write letters. With the help of lawyers, she sent her testimonies to authorities across nations. She detailed how Michael had forced her to sign documents. Quietly, an investigation was opened. Michael didn't know. Meanwhile, Michael sat in a bar overseas, laughing with a glass in his hand. Guy, my business is untouchable. $400 million. And I did it my way. Can you imagine? I put my own mother in jail. And to think that foolish girl I married from the village, she almost ruined me. Thank God she was caught. I even rigged the election to make her win the contest in the village. I thought she was smart. She turned out useless. What a disappointment. His laughter echoed. Authorities traced his companies, his assets, his movement. They uncovered the web of drug trafficking and human trafficking he had built. The day came. Michael was arrested abroad. In court, evidence piled up like a mountain. Madame Flora took the stand, holding up the document her son had forced her to sign. She read it out loud. Her voice was steady. Amara also stepped forward. Michael's eyes widened. Every witness spoke. Every lie collapsed. The gavel struck. Life imprisonment with hard labor. Michael's head dropped. This time, there would be no escape. I know you have been enjoying this story, but please, have you clicked the like button? Please do that now. And you have not subscribed. Please, come on, join the family. And do you know that you have been missing out from exclusive content for members only? From scripture cards to devotional and much more? For just $1 a month, please click the link in the pinned comment.